What's going on, everybody? Andy Waddell with Forum Films, and welcome to Grade in 10. Today we are going to have some Mardi Gras fun, so let's get on down to New Orleans. Okay, I should specify. One of our clients rented out Bourbon Street. I don't know if they rented the whole street, but they rented enough of it to put on their own Mardi Gras style parade. And one of our amazing cam ops and editors, Jason Longoria, was there, captured the whole thing. And this was a frame that really stuck out to me as a fun one to color. So let's get started. So it comes into Resolve looking like this from the Blackmagic Pocket 6K. We are going to flip to YRGB Color Managed, which immediately puts the camera in Rec 709. And we are going to enable the color grade, and we are going to be taking this from this image right here to kapow, that. So let's get it started by deleting everything. Okay, first up, denoising. If I could label it, that would be awesome. There we go. Just a very small touch of denoising on this to start us off. All right, next up, I'm going to throw film grain on this. We're going to do this at the beginning because I want to have it process through from top to bottom. We're going to do it about 65%. Give it a little extra mojo. All right, next up is exposure. I can't spell today. Exposure. And what I want to do is just simply grab my curves, and I'm just going to give it a little bump in the mid-highs. Would help if I enabled color. There we go. Excuse me, I just hiccuped. It happens, people. It's live recording. It's going to happen. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of crushing on the lower blacks too in this exposure node, just kind of tackle all that at once just to get this thing up where I want it. So auditioning it off and then on, off and on, liking that. Next up, I'm going to drop primaries. And what I want to do is essentially work on getting this spot right here, which is essentially my sky poking through. I'm going to get those evened out. Just a little bit of subtle offset adjustment. Ever so subtle. Again, it's shot so well, it doesn't need a lot, but it's the little nudges that add up and really matter. Next up, dropping an adjustment node. All I want to do here is go to my curves and just pull a touch of red out of the low shadows and maybe a tiny Scotia green out of kind of the mids. Okay, I'm going to audition that off and on. Off and on, yeah. I like what that's doing on the reds. It definitely brings those cools back there. This was early evening, and the green I'm pulling out is just kind of taking a little bit of green haze off, certainly out of her skin tone. Speaking of skin tone, let's have some fun with her and her outfit, because it is all kinds of zesty. So starting with skin, the trick here is going to be getting a good sample without catching like some of her teeth, because some of the tones and the hues are very close. So I'm going to sample this with our 3D 3D qualifier. And I'm just going to kind of play around until I see like a fairly good coverage that minimizes how much I grab of her teeth. And if I don't get it, I might have to just go in with some black clip and crush and get rid of it. But I'm going to see what I can do. Oops, wrong button. It is not easy. Sometimes isolating parts of human face or body from teeth and hair and eyeballs can be so much fun. We're just going to push it a little further, which I think will be fine. off, see what I've got. Might try to add a stroke right here to grab her neck. Oops. Yeah, I might do that. Okay, I'm also going to mask this to more or less get rid of the stuff in the background. I don't really care that there's some skin tone things happening in the background, but for the sake of a cleaner image, we're going to do this. Okay, so now let's drop color compressor on it. And I want to give her a medium brown, warmer tone overall. So we're going to kind of sample this and find something that's got just the right amount of warmth. And I like that. I really like that color. Now we're going to just push our hue compression and our sat compression. And you notice on her forehead, if I go all the way, it's like now she's very unicolor. If I pull it back, she's got more splotchy stuff happening up here. I think there's probably like a window somewhere reflecting, you know, sunlight, and it's just really throwing all kinds of different colors on her. I'm going to go up about halfway, call that good. And then I'm going to look at my vector scope, and I'm going to use my offset, pull it just a touch to the right on the skin line, but then I'm going to go to my mids and my gamma, and I'm going to push it just a touch warmer toward the orange. So I'm soloing this. Let's audition this off and then on. Man, look at that. Look at that. Loving that. A little more warmth. I'm going to actually push her saturation up a little. Everything in New Orleans is exaggerated, so I think we have some freedom to push this stuff a little bit. Now I'm also on this note, I'm going to go ahead and put a little contrast decompression on her skin tone. I'm going to pull the high mids up a touch, and I'm going to pull down some shadows just to create a little more interest in some of these, you know, the fall off of her cheeks and the shadows there. So maybe not quite that much. I mean, super subtle with this. And anyway, so let's audition that off and on. All right, that's fun. That's feeling pretty zesty. Let's tackle the greens next. And I'm going to call it L greens because I'm going to put these next three nodes in the L, A, B, C, I, E color space. So I'm going to go ahead and set these up. L is just to remind me, purples. L is to remind me that that's the color space that node is in. Otherwise, I'll start messing around and be like, what the crap? Why is this not working? Great. And that's the worst because it behaves completely different yellows. Okay. Color space. Lab. All right. So let's just start with the greens. Let's come in here and grab some green. And let's grab some more green up here. And there's going to be some things like this building or a plant hanging from that roof that's green. I don't really care. I mean, she's in an environment with lots of color. This is just going to help push all of it, and it's going to unify it all a little bit, so I really don't care if I catch some of that. I'm just going to play around with kind of feathering everything out, make sure it feels good. Don't push that too far. Okay. Now, let's come in here and let's just pull our greens. We're going to pull down to add green, push up to add yellow. So let's push a little green like that. And then let's pop the sat just a little bit. And we're going to go to the R, which is now our luminance in this color space. And I just want to lift all of it just a little bit. Maybe a little contrast too, just a touch. Okay, so off, on, off, on. We're just kind of bringing it all to life a little bit more here. Okay, super fun. Let's do the same thing with the purples. So we get this ginormous umbrella, super easy. Let's be sure to add subtleties in this feather. That feather, oops, just hit something with skin tone. smooth it up. Okay, that's pretty good. Again, the goal with grade and 10, and this is going to be a little longer because it always takes me longer when I'm talking than when I'm doing it and not talking. The idea is to get a good, usable, presentable grade captured, or completed in about 10 minutes so you can move to the next shot and have something to show your client at the end of the day. Just a good principle. You can always go back and continue pushing and tweaking. Okay, let's pull some red or blue. Let's make it a little, this might be different than my thumbnail. I kind of want to push it a little more magenta-y. That's pretty cool. Lab color space is so much fun. There's so many things you can do with it. It just behaves so much differently. So let's just have some fun here. Kind of just do him. And push a little yellow into it. Make it feel like that. All right, so let's audition that off and on. Off, on. Not a whole lot of change. But now I'm going to saturate it a touch more. And we'll make it a little brighter. Okay. Finally, let's tackle the yellows. Mainly her gloves. This glove's kind of washed out. I don't know that we're going to get a lot of it. The other thing you have to watch out for on yellow is teeth and some of this stuff in the background. But what I'll probably do is literally mask off her face so that this isn't going to touch her face. And it's a short shot. It wouldn't be that hard just to track it. But I don't want her teeth glowing yellow. All right, so let's come back over here. Actually, maybe it'd help if I invert the mask. Oh, there we go. Much better. Tighten it up a little bit. And I'm going to blur this one a lot because we do have a lot happening in background there. Okay, so let's go to here. Oops. Sorry, red, green, blue, yellow. Got my wires crossed there. Okay. We're going to push that up a touch. A little more sat. Let's turn off solo. Now we can audition that off and on. So her gloves pop. Yeah, these walls over here and this area right here is popping a little more too, but hey, that's kind of nice. Okay, so if we take her, all of the stuff we just did to her, and solo that off and on, audition it, off, on. Making her zesty. All right, let's add 2 nodes. We are going to augment our natural depth of field with the depth map and Gaussian blur. And what we're going to do is invert this, and we're going to adjust the map levels. And what I want to do is essentially cut her. Put this in faster. I want to cut her and her feathers out and blur everything behind her. Might take a little bit of trial and error, but we will see. We'll connect our alpha to this node, and then we'll put Gaussian blur on this node. And then we'll come back here and say depth map preview, turn it off. Okay, so now we need to clearly bring our, there we go. So we're just tightening, basically tightening the focal planes between near and far. So it's kind of cutting her out like a photograph almost. So if I toggle both of these off and on, you can see what it's doing. It's just cutting her out. I'm letting it kind of feather a little bit there and there, just to kind of give it a little bit of a ghosty vibe. But I really like that. It allows me to cut the background out even more. Maybe not that much. Maybe 37.5%. Okay. Digging that. Now let's call this depth call this blur. Okay, we got a couple more nodes we're gonna have some fun with. Drop down here. I'm gonna go ahead here at the end. For some reason, I always wait till I'm like halfway through to do this. I don't know why. Okay, let's just do a little bit of sharpening, about 0.48. Let's across the whole image. Oh, actually, you know what? I don't want to do that there. I'm gonna do that on this node. I'm changing up the way I do some stuff today. Bear with me. Okay. On this node prior to that, we're going to have this be lab color space, and we're simply going to use it to pull some more red out of the shadows by rolling our shadows down, and it's going to have this nice effect. Where it starts to really tighten up the image. So I can solo that off and on, and you can see what it's doing. It's leaving all that beautiful color in there, but it's pulling some reds and stuff out of the lower end. So finally, or penultimately, this will be a vignette I want to play with just to make it a little more hyper real. Go to advanced, go ahead and go to size 1. Make this like more round, 1.5, turn softness down, zoom out, and I want to move it over a little bit like that, and then move it up. So we're kind of almost hinting at where the sun is a little bit, but I just want to kind of center it on her noggin. And then I'm going to pull softness way up. Drop my global blend about 75%. And then on this final node, call it glow. What I'm going to use is aperture diffusion. All right, and now I'm going to mask it with an oval. I'm going to rotate the oval so that it has this across her face kind of vibe. Don't really need it hitting her glove down here. Kind of want it to feel like that. And then what I'm going to do on that is drop its global. Let's just go down to 0, and then I'll just roll it up until it feels like it's just adding a little magic sauce to the image without causing issues. I know we're technically clipping right here, but when it's a point in the image like this, it doesn't matter to me. So, all right, so that is feeling pretty zesty. I'm gonna come back to her skin. I'm actually gonna pull down this little boost I put in there. I don't want it to create any hot spots on her skin in the highlights. But there we go. Let's walk it through. Here we go. Denoising, very subtle, just handles the stuff in the bottom end. There might be a little noise up here when the video's playing, so it'll take care of that. Film grain, 35 mil, 400T at about 65% mix. A little bit of exposure just to get it generally where I want it. Primaries to balance out my highlights, especially the sun spot right here, or sky spot. Adjustment, just to tinker with the low shadows of the reds, a little bit of green in the middle. And then we just basically took care of business on her entire face and clothes. Kapow! Makes her and her costume pop. Then we applied a depth map with the blur. Kaboom! Which is just magic. Isn't that just magic what it does? You know what I just realized? I'm going to actually pull the film and put it after the blur. That was something I didn't plan on doing before, and I realized, hey, if that's getting blurred now, it's killing the film grain. All right, lab node in lab color space, kaboom, tightens up. Again, everything a little bit more. Sharpening makes her pop. My vignette pulls my eye toward her a little bit. And then finally the glow just makes this beautiful halo on her face. So yeah, feeling really good about that. All right. There we are. A little Mardi Gras magic in New Orleans, even though it wasn't technically Mardi Gras, it was in New Orleans. So, hey, give us a like, follow, subscribe, please, and leave us a note. Let us know what you learned, didn't learn, what you'd like us to do different. Mostly just leave really nice comments, though. That'd be really swell. Thanks. Have a great one. See you next time.